Researchers were left with two possibilities. One, an unknown chemistry, or two, some kind of life form producing the phosphine. We had questions today, so I talked with someone who knows a little bit about space. Leroy Chiao is a former NASA astronaut. He was also the commander of the International Space Station. I started by asking him, why does the presence of this particular gas suggest life?
Well, this is a very exciting discovery because phosphine usually occurs on the Earth only through some kind of biological process, specifically with these anaerobic microbes. And so the fact that we have detected phosphine pretty much conclusively in the atmosphere of Venus and at such high concentrations is really an exciting indicator. Now, of course, there could be something natural going on that's not biological causing this that we don't understand, but it certainly raises the possibility of some kind of possibly anaerobic alien microbial activity, perhaps in the clouds of Venus.
If there is life, this is not like a pack it up and ship it to Venus situation. I mean, it's still a very inhospitable environment for the life forms we know.
That's right. The surface of Venus is the pressure is about 100 times, almost 100 times the pressure here on the Earth. The temperature is close to 900 degrees Fahrenheit, and it rains concentrated sulfuric acid. So pretty inhospitable to life as we know it. Now, it's possible that up in the clouds, where the temperatures and the pressures are not nearly as high, you still got a lot of acidity, but it's not unheard of in these extreme environments to have what we call extremophile life. And we find examples of that here on the Earth as well. In areas that we thought oceans were too deep, too dark, too high pressure, too cold to support life, we found that near these hydrothermal vents, it's warm enough for life to actually flourish there. And so it's just possible that there might be some kind of interesting life happening in the clouds of Venus.
Help me understand where the scientific community is on this today, because for someone like me on the outside looking in, you see this headline and my head starts spinning. I mean,
sure.
That, life is not what we thought it was, and it's cyclical, right. And, maybe someday Venus will be hospitable to more familiar life forms. And all. I mean, is that crazy? Is this really a great big breakthrough, or is there a lot of skepticism right now for people like you who understand what's happening
Sure.
there?
Well, I think scientists are naturally cautious. So, nobody is suggesting that there is life on Venus or even in the clouds of Venus. They're saying we found this strange result, a lot of phosphine gas, and it could be from some kind of anaerobic microbe life in the clouds of Venus, but we're not sure. So I'm sure, they're publishing papers, they're going to have peer review people look at it, they're going to have other scientists come up with their ideas of what it might be. And so it's going to be a debate. It's going to be impossible. In science, something like this is impossible to prove without direct observation. So unless we send a probe to Venus and actually observe and find these microbes, or take a sample of Venus's atmosphere and bring it back to Earth for analysis and find these microbes, we'll never know conclusively, without actually doing one of those two things.
Yeah, you talk about sampling the atmosphere. I mean, you're an astronaut. You know how NASA works. And we've sent a lot of our engineering to Mars to try to understand it better. Are we now going to start shifting maybe a little more attention to Venus?
There have been proposals in the past within NASA and outside of NASA of sending probes to Venus's atmosphere, specifically to study the chemical composition, and perhaps now to focus on, hey, what would it take to design an experiment to test for the presence of these microbes, see if they're there or not. And so I would expect there to be some push for a probe to Venus. Venus in many ways is easier to get to than Mars, and so, why not?
Dr. Leroy Chiao, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I appreciate your perspective on this big headline. It's really exciting, and for you to help explain it to us is really a treat. Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Next for us, school's back in session for both chambers of Congress, but does that mean they are